Hi, welcome to Naptime Nutrition. I'm Yaffi Lvova, registered dietitian and nutritionist, owner of Baby Bloom Nutrition and Toddler Test Kitchen and Naptime Nutrition. Today's session is it's an answer to a viewer question, and I love getting questions. So if you do have a question for me, please send it to me at yaffi@babybloomnutrition.com, YAFFI @babybloomnutrition.com. So I did a segment a while ago on why we do need to start giving babies food around 6 months. Like, what if breast milk is so perfect, why do we need to give them food? Well, I did a segment on that with Ellie Shava-Wiener, who's a fantastic speech therapist and feeding therapist. And you can go back and look at that segment if your question is about the timing. Today, we are taking the opposite angle, saying, why do we need breast milk? Why can't I just give my baby food? So here's the thing. Back a while ago, still in the 1900s, so not all that long ago, I think it was actually the late 70s or early 80s, the standard advice was to start feeding babies pureed food on day 3 of life. Can you imagine? Now the standard recommendation is around 6 months when we see the readiness signs, when a child is sitting up on their own and shows signs that they can physically grab food, bring it to their mouth, and then take that food from the front of their mouth, move it to the back of their mouth, and actually swallow it. That happens around 6 months. So why continue breastfeeding? And why is breast milk and formula primary nutrition? Meaning, why does it come first until 12 months? So here's the thing. Here's your timeline. From the day baby is born, they get the breast or the bottle. Breast milk is actually expected to come in around day 3 or 4, depending on a lot of factors. That is an expected time and is completely healthy. If you're using formula, you'll probably start earlier. So here's the thing. Formula is designed to be almost exactly like breast milk. It's as close to breast milk as we can formulate. And those formulations are being constantly revised as we learn more about breast milk, and we can try to copy it a little bit more. For example, we didn't know that there was DHA, for example. And so now they're adding DHA to formula. And we didn't know about all of the antibodies. We're adding a lot to formula now that even a couple decades ago, we didn't know existed in human breast milk. I'm going to come back to that, just the idea that we don't know everything. So first, breast milk is supposed to be the ideal, and formula is supposed to be as exact a copy of that as we can make. This is the ideal nutrition for a child up to 6 months. We advise in America to continue breastfeeding until about 12 months, and around the world, that's generally a longer amount of time. The World Health Organization advises to continue breastfeeding up until 2 years or longer. If you're doing formula, you're going to go till up to about 12 months, and then you can switch over to cow's milk or an alternative. I have segments on a lot of different stuff that I just mentioned there, alternatives to dairy, how to choose a formula. All of these are separate segments of Naptime Nutrition, so you can go check those out if you have more questions about that in depth. So first I want to start out with, how do we know if a baby's growing? How do we judge a baby's health? We look at the growth charts, and I do have a separate segment on that as well. So on the growth charts, we look not only at individual growth markers, weight and height on an individual day, but we look at patterns. How are they growing overall? If a child is sticking to their pattern, whether that's the 5th percentile or the 99th percentile, if they're following the pattern that they have established without crossing 2 standard deviations, which is those major bold lines on the graph, then they are considered to be growing perfectly. Are they hitting their milestones? Are they rolling over at the right time? Are they crawling at the right time? Are they babbling? Are they making eye contact and smiling? These are also important pieces of information to know whether a baby is on target and is developing on time. Is this the whole story? No, this is not the whole picture. Those are the things that we use as the broad markers of health for an infant. But it, of course, gets more complicated than that. So back to the idea. So breast milk is the ideal. And the reason we know that that's the ideal is because that's what we produce naturally. We don't know everything about it. We don't know all of the benefits. And thank God formula is available. It really is necessary. But there is a delicate balance when we start to bring other types of nutrition into this picture. At around 6 months, as I mentioned, when there are readiness signs, when a child is sitting up on their own and is physically able to bring food to the mouth, gum or chew and swallow, and swallow it safely, that's when we're going to start giving food. We still want to give the breast or the bottle before food until 12 months. Does something magical happen at 12 months? No, but this is, all kids develop at different rates, and that was the average time when we know that it's safe for kids and that their needs start to change. And that's what the focus of the segment really is on, the idea of the change in needs. Up until 12 months, breast milk or formula is primary nutrition. And the reason for that is that it meets a child's needs at that stage. If you look at breast milk and formula both, they contain protein, they contain carbohydrates, they contain fat, they contain a whole lot of other stuff that's really great for babies. Solid food does not contain the same nutrients in the same amounts. Maybe the sodium is going to be different, or the protein amount is going to be different. Maybe the fat amount is going to be different, or the fat profile is going to be different, meaning different types of fats are represented in solid food than would be in breast milk or formula. And this is really important at this time because breast milk and formula are designed to be filling and to meet a baby's nutrition needs perfectly. When we start introducing solid food, a lot of times, if you really step back and take a look at what you're giving your baby, it kind of approximates a diet for weight loss. Like how much fun is it for your baby to have their first taste of carrots, whether it's roasted carrots in a baby-led weaning type of way, or whether you're going the pureed route. How exciting to see your baby's face just light up when they eat a carrot. Wonderful. But the problem is carrots are wonderful for nutrition. They do have beta carotene, which is the precursor to vitamin A, which is super important. They don't have any fat at all. They hardly have any protein. They're missing a lot. That's not a problem for a bigger kid or an adult who's going to be eating a variety of different types of foods. Babies are generally given one type of food, two types of foods. And the thing is that it really closely approximates what an adult might eat if they were trying to trim down. If you know me, you know I'm not for intentional weight loss. Anyway, I like to take a different route. But certainly for babies, that's not the way we're going. Solid food just doesn't meet a baby's nutritional needs. And at some point, that will affect them. So the thing is, we really don't know everything. You can look at the nutritional profile of breast milk or formula. You can very easily Google that, and you can put it side by side with pureed carrots or a potato, whatever you like. That information is readily available. But the thing is that the information that's available is only information that we know. It does not account for the information that we don't yet know about an infant's absorption rate or their digestion or the nutritional compounds that are found in breast milk that we just don't know about yet. We just don't know. So the thing is, why? Why would a 6, 7, 8-month-old baby prefer solid food over liquid nutrition? If I'm telling you it's so important for the baby to have breast milk or formula before solid food, why is your baby fighting you on this? There are a few reasons, and what the reason is, you may have to go to another specialist in order to get it checked out. Unfortunately, YouTube and Facebook are not great ways to assess people. So why does a baby prefer solid food? It's possible that they have difficulty with their suck. Is there a tongue or a lip tie that is preventing them from moving their mouth in a way that is appropriate for sucking? Is there reflux going on that makes it difficult? Liquid nutrition may result in more reflux than solid nutrition, which if it's got a lot of soluble fiber, which a lot of baby foods do, it swells and it can help to prevent that reflux. But but it's still not providing the nutrition that we need. It may be more comfortable for the baby to eat solids. That's something to discuss with a pediatrician, or possibly go to an ENT, especially if there may be a concern for swollen adenoids or tonsils. If you think about the ways that you eat, if you are drinking a bottle, let's say you're really thirsty and you take a bottle of water and you're just slamming it, you may notice that as you are guzzling down this liquid, you're not breathing. Okay, but if you were eating, you would take breaths between meals. If a child has swollen adenoids that's blocking their airways up here, back behind the nose, it could make it difficult for them to do a consistent sucking motion when they really want to take a breath. Taking breaths constantly may result in reflux if they're sucking down air, or it may just make the experience uncomfortable. There may also be some illness going on. Maybe the baby is congested. Maybe there's teething that's causing congestion, or a virus that's going around that causes congestion. There could also be distracted feeding. A lot of times at different points in a baby's development, they get super interested in what's going on around them. If there's a cat, like the one interrupting this session, who likes to, run around and the baby is feeding at the breast and tears off to look this way and that way. If you've been breastfeeding, you know what I'm talking about. Kids can get super distracted, and that can mean that they don't fill themselves and don't fill their appetites the way that they want. And they may make up for that with solid food when that's presented. It's easier to focus on solid food because it's a different taste, it's a different texture, it's a different experience than using the breast or the bottle. And babies are so curious. They're so curious, and they are interested in new experiences. So it may be that they're less distracted with solid food than they are with the bottle or the breast. They may also be on a nursing strike. And I was convinced I did a segment on nursing strike, and I guess I haven't, so I'll have to go back and correct that. A nursing strike can happen when a baby's distracted, or a lot of different other times. There are a lot of reasons that could cause a nursing strike, and that's when a baby just really doesn't want to nurse. This is a phase, and it ends. The best thing that you can keep doing is to continue to offer the breast or the bottle prior to solid food. Solid food before a year is not for nutrition. I don't like the expression food before one is just for fun, because it isn't just for fun. There are other reasons. There's important development of those orofacial muscles that's going on, exposure to taste and texture, learning how to behave at the table, learning how to manage food physically with the hands, with the tongue, with the lips. And it's important bonding with other family members at the table, but it's not for nutrition. It is very important, not for nutrition. So it is important to keep presenting the bottle or the breast prior to solid food. So why not? Why not just feed food? I already mentioned, probably 10 times that it just doesn't meet a baby's nutrition needs. Also, if you start feeding solid food while breastfeeding, but you're feeding solid food in a more aggressive way, your supply could go down. As your baby fills up on that solid food that doesn't quite meet their nutritional needs, your breast milk will go down as far as your supply. And if you're using formula, your baby will take less formula, which means less nutrition overall. That's not the goal. And we're just not meeting needs. We're just not meeting their needs. So what should you do? Continue to offer the breast or the bottle. If you believe it's a distraction that's causing your baby to not be interested as much in liquid nutrition, then go to a calm, quiet place where you can give the breast or the bottle. Make sure that your schedule is consistent. Kids really thrive on predictability, so it's really important to have a predictable schedule where you repeat the same routines every day. Even with a child who's 6 months old and can't tell time, they have an internal clock and they know when to get hungry and when to get full. If a child is too hungry, that may be distracting. And if a child is not hungry enough, they're going to be distracted. So as they grow from that 6-month point where you're introducing solid food to that 12-month point where you're switching over to what is the primary nutrition, it's important to continue to offer the breast or the bottle first. When you first start, you're going to offer solid foods almost immediately after. As you get closer to that 12 months, you're going to be separating liquid and solid nutrition by a little bit longer in order to make room for an appetite. It's important to follow this. And if you have any questions, please talk to your pediatrician. Message me. I will try to hook you up with a speech therapist or an occupational therapist who can check out your child for these obstacles that may be causing some issues. If you have questions, it's always best to meet with a professional one-on-one who can listen to your concerns and address them directly in a way that is clear, but also compassionate and can help you feed your baby with confidence. So thank you so much for tuning in for this episode of Naptime Nutrition. If you have a question, please let me know. Yaffi at babybloomnutrition.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you soon.